Would it really be the Halloween season without a new release from Mike Flanagan? At this point, he and the holiday go together like a young babysitter and a serial killer on the loose. But does he hit yet another home run with the fall of the House of Usher? Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? I'm Sully, and today I'm super excited to talk to you about the new Netflix series from Mike Flanagan, The Fall of the House of Usher. All you need to know about this one is that the story goes like this. Siblings Roderick and Madeline Usher have built a pharmaceutical company into an empire of wealth, privilege, and power. However, secrets come to light when the heirs to the Usher dynasty start dying one by one. So this is a project that I've been looking forward to ever since it was first announced. Obviously, I'm going to be clamoring to get my hands on anything new from Mike Flanagan. I'll follow him into the depths of hell after The Haunting of Hill House. I'm an absolute horror veteran. I've seen everything there is under the sun. That show scared the ever-living shit out of me on more than one occasion. But what interested me the most about this is the subject matter. I'm a pretty big Edgar Allan Poe fan. I was lucky enough to spend my parents' hard-earned money on courses in college around gothic horror, the films of Edgar Allan Poe, and the influences of Stephen King. So when I heard that Mike Flanagan was adapting The Fall of the House of Usher for his next project, I almost went out and bought a full new wardrobe from Hot Topic and got a pet raven in anticipation. Now, the cast here is definitely who you think would be involved in a Mike Flanagan production. If you like his other stuff and this band of actors he brings along with him every time, you're gonna enjoy who embodies the roles of these rich pricks that make up the Usher family. Bruce Greenwood, Carla Gugino, Henry Thomas, Kate Siegel, and a bunch of others are in here, and they all do very solid work. I mean, hell, he's even bringing Luke Skywalker to the party this time around, too. And I know in recent years, Mark Hamill has primarily stuck to voice acting roles, other than those, interesting Star Wars sequels. But he does a great job here, and by far plays one of the most interesting characters of the show, one that I wish they peeled back the layers on even more. And I just want to circle back to Bruce Greenwood and Carla Gugino here for a minute, because at the end of the day, this story is kind of centered around the two of them, and they do a really solid job as the backbone of this series, and whenever they crossed paths, it always produced entertaining results. Now, getting into the meat and potatoes of this story here, I'm super pumped this ended up being an 8-episode series rather than a movie. Something like Edgar Allan Poe is already hard to adapt in the first place. You need to give it enough time to breathe and get fully fleshed out, and Flanagan does a really nice job here with the slow burn and the payoff. It's filled to the brim with the necessary emotions and themes you need to tell a Poe story correctly: greed, loss, legacy. And there are a couple of moments here that hit like a Mack truck, but I will say, even though it's completely by design within the story they set out to tell with this one, I thought a couple of the middle episodes followed a very familiar and repetitive formula. The first episode is great, the second episode is great, and the finale wraps everything up with a bow nicely. But once you finish that second episode, you can clearly see the chain of events that are going to follow throughout the season leading up to the finale. Now, are all of those episodes still super entertaining? Of course they are. But you just kind of know the basic framework the majority of them are going to follow from that point forward. The good thing is that even though the structure is similar, they all kind of explore very different types of horrors and fears. I didn't find any of them particularly scary, especially when you compare it to something like The Haunting of Hill House, but Mike Flanagan has such a solid control over the emotion, the tone, and the visuals within his work that you'll never feel unengaged. And even though this is The Fall of the House of Usher, there is a ton of inspiration taken from Poe's other short stories and poems that are seamlessly weaved throughout each standalone episode. I mean, when you look at the titles of each episode, you'll see stuff like The Black Cat, The Telltale Heart, The Mask of the Red Death. And as a big Poe fan, I wasn't really expecting that, but it was definitely a treat. Overall, guys, The Fall of the House of Usher is another win for the powerhouse that is Mike Flanagan. I don't think it quite stacks up with the absolute best of his work, but if you're a fan of him, if you're a fan of the horror genre, if you're a fan of Edgar Allan Poe, you're going to be a happy camper with this one. The overall structure of the story is a little formulaic and repetitive in some of those middle episodes, but the manner in which they differ from one another through the tone, the visuals, and the performances will always keep you locked in. Mike Flanagan, you did it again, you beautiful man, you. The Fall of the House of Usher gets a Sully score of 4 stars. So that's my review of the latest Netflix Mike Flanagan show. What do you think is the best thing Mike Flanagan has ever done? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. and I'll see you guys at the next one.